Hey guys, welcome to the next installment of Nutrition in the Kitchen here at Food and Friends. Today we're going to take a break from our usual focus on a single dish or recipe and talk a little bit more about a specific type of ingredient, and that ingredient is grains. They're one of those versatile items that we send out. They're a great source of carbohydrates as well as fiber, and the real great advantage of them is that you can make a bunch of them at a time and then save them up so that you can make quick meals for yourself throughout the week. So today we're going to focus on quinoa, rice, and oats and show you 3 good ways to use those to make meals for yourself or your family. Let's get into it.
On the table before me are several of the grains that we send in our grocery deliveries here at Food and Friends, and I'm going to talk just a little about the benefits and uses of each. First up, we have oats, the dried form of what becomes oatmeal. We send both steel-cut oats and instant oats, with steel-cut oats taking longer to cook but having more texture, and instant oats being ready to go in just minutes in the microwave. All oats are a fantastic source of soluble fiber, which can help regulate blood sugar levels in people with diabetes, help your heart by reducing blood cholesterol, and help your gut stay in top shape. Most people think of oatmeal as sweet food, and it works very well that way, but it can work just as well as the base for a savory breakfast. Next up, we have rice, and we do send both white and brown rice. Brown rice is a whole grain that contains more fiber, B vitamins, and minerals than white rice, but sometimes the flavor and texture of white rice just works better in a dish. A good way to counteract this loss is to add more vegetables when you're using white rice to increase the fiber and nutrient content in the final dish. That way you can use whichever option you prefer and still create a healthy meal. We also send quinoa from time to time. Quinoa is not technically a grain, but it cooks up just like one and is ideal for including in grain salads. Interestingly, quinoa is one of the very few plants that contains a complete protein, which makes it especially good for folks who are trying to reduce their meat consumption, but works for everyone. It is also high in fiber, much like oats and brown rice, so it's very helpful for maintaining a healthy digestive tract. Quinoa is a great choice for lunch and dinner bowls, and it accepts dressings and sauces very well, especially when it's warm. Finally, I have 2 more items that are also not grains, but are made of grain. Orzo and couscous are both actually types of pasta made of wheat flour and water, but because of their small shape, they function very much like some of the other grains on the table. These should get the white rice treatment, adding extra vegetables to increase the fiber content, but are both good sources of carbohydrates for energy and work well as the base of a dish. We're going to be talking today mostly about using these grains once they're already prepared. But if you're curious about how to prepare them, check the packages they come in. These companies do more research on their product than I could ever do, so following their instructions is generally a good idea. Make sure to rinse your grains, especially white rice and quinoa, and lightly salt the water when you're cooking to help stop them from sticking together or becoming too bland. For our first grain bowl, let's use oatmeal as a base for eggs and sautéed veggies to make a balanced, flavorful, and quick breakfast. We'll start by adding olive oil to a frying pan over medium heat, let it get up to temperature, and then add in a clove of minced garlic. You should hear a light sizzle when it hits the pan. This is a great time to season with pepper or red chili flakes, because toasting these in the oil will help bring out more flavor. Keep the garlic moving in the oil until it just starts to turn blonde, and then add your choice of leafy green. I'm using canned kale, but you could use canned or fresh spinach, chard, or collards as well. Make sure to add in a pinch of salt if you chose fresh greens, though if you chose canned, it's probably not needed. Stir these around until most of the liquid has steamed off or until the greens are wilted if you're using fresh veggies. Then, you're going to add a splash or a squeeze of lemon juice to add a little bit of acid and freshness right at the end of the dish, and you're done with your kale. On the stovetop, I've had some eggs simmering in water and immediately cooling them down in a bowl of ice water. This can be done a dozen at a time and stored in the fridge for quick protein snacks and breakfast on demand. To peel eggs easily, crack them all over and then peel under running water to remove the shell in just 1 or 2 pieces. If you want a fully hard-boiled egg, start them in boiling water and then drop to a simmer for 9 minutes, while a jammy egg should only cook for about 6.5 minutes, and a true soft boil for about 5 minutes. However you like your eggs, we're going to add 1 to a bowl of hot steel-cut oats and top it up with our seasoned sautéed kale. To add even more flavor, you can add seasonings like garlic powder or onion powder or even soy sauce to the oats themselves. And then you can top it all off with things like chili oil, hot sauce, or pesto. As a bonus, you can even make the bowl look like a face to encourage kids to eat some breakfast veggies. Next, let's make a quick lunch using white rice as a base for a riff on a tuna salad sandwich. We'll obviously start by cracking open a can of tuna, draining it, and then flaking it into a bowl. To that, we're going to add about a tablespoon or 2 of mayonnaise to help bind everything together, and a teaspoon of mustard for an acidic punch. I use Dijon mustard, but you can use whatever form you like. I've got my dietetic intern here helping me out by mincing up some carrots, onions, and celery for some crunch. I let these sit in a little bit of lemon juice and a little salt to create kind of a quick pickle before adding them into the tuna salad. This will help add texture, salt, and more acid to help cut through the mayonnaise and tuna, and will also add fiber and nutrients from the fresh vegetables. And I'll add a little bit of the lemon juice, just to add a little bit of liquid and loosen everything up. Stir this thoroughly to combine and taste for seasoning. If you have them, adding in some herbs like dill, chives, or tarragon would go very nicely here. To plate it up, I just add the tuna salad on top of some hot white rice, add some halved cherry tomatoes and shredded romaine lettuce as classic sandwich toppings, and enjoy! Finally, we're going to put together a dinner out of ingredients that you can prepare entirely in advance and keep in the fridge. On the stovetop, I just finished a very simple pan-seared chicken breast, just salt and pepper, and I'm letting it rest, but you could easily do this by baking an entire row of chicken breasts all at one time and then keeping them in the fridge. In the meantime, we'll take a nice large mixing bowl and add to it a cup or so of pre-cooked quinoa and a half cup of lentils and toss to combine. Lentils are also a very small item that blends very well with grain salads, but they're a legume and a good source of protein. Make sure to heat up all the elements of this dish before combining, as this will both keep the food safe and help the salad accept the dressing. I'm using the vinaigrette that we send, but you can also make your own using whichever oils, acids, and seasonings you like. A personal favorite of mine is canola oil, rice vinegar, soy sauce, and a hint of toasted sesame oil. After combining, always make sure to taste for seasoning and adjust as you like with herbs, spices, or more dressing. To plate, we're going to slice up our chicken against the grain. Cutting it this way makes the meat much more tender than if we cut it with the grain of the muscle. We'll then add our grain salad to our serving bowl. Top with our sliced chicken. And then add some simple pre-roasted broccoli for an easy, quick, and balanced dinner that can be all prepared on a Sunday and you can eat throughout the week.
So I'm here with Mike. He's our communications manager here at Food and Friends. And he's going to give this dish a try today. Now, Mike is actually a vegetarian, so he obviously won't be trying any of the chicken. But that's kind of the beauty of making grain bowls, is that you can really flex them to whatever your needs are and whatever you happen to have on hand. So if you were making this at home, he might use black beans, tofu, something like that. But there's already a good amount of protein in there from the quinoa and the lentils, and obviously some great fiber from both of those things, as well as the broccoli. So go ahead and dig in. It's lunchtime anyway.
All right. Fantastic.
Good. I'm gonna take more of a carnivore's bite here.
Yum.
Yeah. Hate to talk with my mouth full, but that's just one of the great things about making grain bowls, is that it works for those who are eating meat, those who aren't, and everyone in between. Thanks, y'all.